Welcome to the right tool for the job, matching materials and garments. Thanks for your patience. We had a little technical difficulty. I'm in Massachusetts presenting this, and Jody is in Michigan. So thank you for your patience. My name is Ken Chadwick. My job is a sales rep for Group Stahl's Sales Alliance. My sales territory is New England, Northeastern New York. I have over 25 years of decorated apparel experience, and I actually started out as a customer with Stahl. So I have a lot of I went through the same trials and tribulations that everybody else has done. Here's our agenda. You know, with the format, if you've gone through any of our Great Garment Graphics presentations previously, it's approximately a 30-minute presentation. There'll be time at the end for questions and answers. We'll answer as many as we can live. My philosophy, shared by many, is there are no dumb questions. There's just questions you don't know the answer to. We usually start with a polling question, since this is a webinar, and we had well over 100 people sign up for this webinar, so we know that it's people looking for answers to these questions. But to give the presenter, myself, a better idea of our audience, we'd like to have a polling question. And it's usually really simple. It takes a couple of seconds. How many years in business? We like to know whether you're a newbie, couple of years in business, medium time in business, up to over 20 years in business. So if you could answer that polling question.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining. I'm just going to leave it open. I'm going to actually close it right now. It looks like just about everyone has voted. My name is Jody, and just as Ken said, thank you so much for your patience. And thanks for staying with us today. And let's see, Ken. Oh, looks like we've got some newbies. Looks like we have a little bit of everything with us today.
A little potpourri, huh?
Yes, well said.
Well, we'll try to make our presentation so it'll be interesting for a wide range of our audience. You can see by our agenda here, we have a couple of important questions that we have to answer, and the answers to those questions will help lead us to which materials we're going to use to decorate. Similar to if somebody comes into your shop where they call you for an order and they want something embroidered. How are you going to hoop it? How many colors? Are you going to put it on a one head? Are you going to put it on a multi-head? Are you screen printing? Did you hit a minimum order? How many colors? How many screen charges? It's no difference when we're dealing with heat pressing. We have to know, can we put it on the heat press? Do we have to have a specialty platen? Are we going to use CADCUT material? Are we going to use CAD color material? It's important to know the difference between those two decorating mediums. And we also have to figure out, are we going to do a screen-printed plastisol ink transfer? So here's the agenda. I don't need to, we're running a little bit late here because of our earlier difficulty. So we'll just go through that and just let you know that we will cover those different topics. If you've heard me speak before, and I speak frequently in my area, you've heard this before. There's an old Ben Franklin quote at the bottom. It's great for business. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. And the old Marine Corps is proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. You have to make sure that you're prepared to do your job. Make sure that you have a current price list. Don't get caught. You know, when your suppliers, your vendors send you out a price list, it changes. And it's just too bad if you quote a job on Monday and you get a new price list on Friday, your customer orders it the next Friday, you've just lost 3 or 4%. So the longer you're in business, you should try to get in tune with the cycle for price lists. Your new Stahl's, as a great segue here, your new Stahl's ID catalog should be in the mail. I just got mine today. And Transfer Express price list changes on February 1st. So there's a word to the wise. You should have contact information for all your resources. Make sure your equipment works. It's clean. You shouldn't be able to write your name and dust on the top of your heat press. You want to make sure that your time, temperature, and pressure is accurate. Have some samples available so you can show people. If you yourself aren't comfortable, you need to make samples with all the different materials or many of the different materials so you can show your customer the differences. One of your most precious assets is time. It's the one thing we generally don't have enough of. Use it wisely. Allow time to plan ahead. If you make a mistake because you're rushed, think about this. If you didn't have enough time to do it the first time, how will you ever have enough time to do it twice? You need to educate yourself on the materials. There's a place for all of them. Just because you only use thermofilm or just because you use goof-proof, there's a reason for all those other products. Try to keep up. Try to keep up with new products. Stahls is introducing a new product today, heat-applied distressed letters and numbers made out of chino twill and acrylic felt. If you are familiar with the Hollister, Gap, Abercrombie look on a zip front sweatshirt or on a hoodie, this is the same thing. You will now be able to order that by individual numbers and letters, a variety of different materials and colors, one color, two color is the same, and you'll only heat press it on. You won't have to stitch it on, but obviously it looks like it's stitched. So that's it on being prepared. We would like you to create guidelines, and having these guidelines helps you determine what we're going to do. Don't prejudge. When your product comes in the door, our industry is changing rapidly. We're introducing new products. Technology is changing. You might not know the latest material technique, so don't limit your choices. If you've only used thermofilm as an example, try to get samples of some of the other materials. Why did they come up with a different material? Maybe it goes on at a lower temperature. Maybe it goes on at a wider range of temperatures, or maybe it stretches. Don't limit your choices. We need to identify the objective. Everybody wants quick delivery. Everybody needs it priced within their budget. You're decorating, promoting, and personalize. But know what your objective is. We'll have a product that you can get your objectives. Recognize it will change. The real skill here that we're going to talk about today comes in knowing the right tool for the job. For those industry veterans, if you think back, there were very few choices. There were very few materials. There were very few colors. Today, there's lots of colors. There's lots of styles, and fashion has changed. Years ago, it was just a cotton T-shirt. Then it was a big deal to do 50-50. Now, there's scores of T-shirt styles. The fabrics have changed. At one time, our business was predominantly cotton. Today, there's a lot of performance apparel making inroads on a previously cotton business. The placements for your decoration has changed. At one time, full front, full back, left chest. Today, with a variety of platens and heat press technology has changed, you can put placements almost anywhere and almost anything. I personally have showed people how to do things with golf grips, flags on ice fishing traps, golf club, the flags for a golf course. There's lots of things you can do. Some businesses have cutoffs, minimums, if you will, for each decorating choice. You have to think about putting those guidelines in for yourself. If you want to do onesies, price accordingly. Some people say screen printing, their normal cutoff is 24 pieces. An automatic press, screen printing press, is typically 72 to 144 pieces. See which one of our products fall within those guidelines that maybe you're using Transfer Express for a smaller order, maybe you're screen printing in-house for a larger order. Remember that customers will present challenges. Okay, we're going to qualifiers. This is an important to go through. This is going to determine which material you're going to use. You can read these as easily as I can, but what it's being applied to, well, if it's nylon, it changes things. What size is the graphic? Where is it going? What kind of artwork is provided? If you don't have suitable artwork, you can go to cadworkslive.com for CADCUT work. Great Dane Graphics. Transfer Express is a great opportunity to use easy prints. They have templates, clip art if you will. There's almost 1 million pieces of clip art there. How many pieces? Most people have minimum orders. Usually with stalls, it's 5 pieces. Transfer Express, it's 6 pieces for our artwork. It's 10 pieces for your artwork. How many colors? This is going to affect your pricing with your budget. Transfer Express is sold per sheet per color, where the CAD color, the digital technology, is sold by the square inch. Color doesn't matter. 16 colors, 1 color, same cost. The consumer protection law here that has recently been enacted, if you're dealing with children under the age of 12, you have to make sure that you can prove that there's no lead or phthalates in your ink or materials. Stalls has the required certifications for almost all our materials. What are the delivery requirements? Some of our items are in stock. We ship them the same day. Some are 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. Know those things. If somebody's going to reorder, how is that going to affect your job? If you have extra CADCUT graphics around or you order extra transfers, you're going to be able to fulfill that job for the same price as you did before. You can't always do that through other mediums. Are you going to produce it in-house? Are you going to outsource it? Think about running out of film in the middle of a job if you've got a vinyl cutter. Try to order just not as many as you need, but try to have an extra one, either to create a sample or to fulfill an order that comes in next week. Also, in the safety business, some people have to have ANSI certification. That's a certification for reflectivity. So be aware of all those things, because that's going to help to determine what you're going to do. On the quantify, there's breaks for pieces for quantity, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 48, 72. Be aware of what those are. What are your minimum order requirements? Once again, some things have $25, some things have $20. Be aware whatever company you're ordering from, what their minimum requirements are. Is there a quantity discount? If you get 100 versus 75 as an example, what does that do to it? Do you have to match colors? Very, very important going between the screen printed world and the digital world. You have to know the difference between RBG color management and CYMK. They don't always match up. Ink has Pantone colors. Transfer Express matches those Pantone colors. Some of Stahl's films can match closely to the Pantone colors. Does your customer require a sample? How expensive is that sample going to be? And are they using you to make the sample, and then they're giving the big order with all the money somewhere else? Shipping. Take advantage of the shipping policies that are out there. Many companies today offer second-day air, same price as ground, and we can reach virtually anywhere in the country in 2 days. What are the credit terms? What happens if you're getting extra sizes? There's going to be surcharges, if you will, for extra sizes. So be aware of that. And also on your extra large sizes, is the same design that's going to fit on a adult medium, is it going to fit and look good on an adult 6XL? So these are some of the questions that you need to ponder when your orders start coming in the door or somebody asks you to quote. There is more and more an emphasis on specialty materials today. Mixed media is when people add more than one specialty, either ink or CADCUT or CAD color material on a product. They might have reflective around ink. They may have foil around ink. They might have glitter around thermofilm. Bling is extremely, extremely popular. The foil look is popular. You can achieve those both through Transfer Express with a screen-printed glitter, or you can heat press foil onto ink, or you can utilize the foil look or bling with some CAD-cut materials, glitter flake, glitter, fashion film metallic. And there's also transfer papers with an inkjet printer or a laser printer. You can buy paper, and then you can use your printer to print on the paper and then heat press that onto your garments. It works better in both cases with white and light colored garments, but there are transfer papers out there specifically for darks, And there's also transfer papers out there that we sell that are stretch, that work on stretch material. So you have to be aware of these items. When the customer wants a garment, you have to identify the characteristics of those garments you're using. Once again, that's going to help to determine what kind of material you're going to use from us for decorating. If it's cotton, it's extremely forgiving. Almost everything works on cotton. Polyester, you can run into problems with the dreaded heat press square or dye migration. Cotton poly is, generally speaking, 50-50, 80-20, 95-5, has less of a problem than it has more of a problem than cotton, but way less than an issue than polyester. Canvas is essentially cotton. Neoprene, you can use it as a sleeve like the scuba divers use, or a sleeve for a laptop case or a koozie. PVC is being used today in slickers or ponchos, if you will, depending upon which area of the country you're from, what they're called, or many of the new gym bags for like hockey bags and baseball and softball bags. Many of the manufacturers are changing their material due to pricing concerns from nylon to PVC, which is vinyl. It is extremely sensitive to heat. So therefore, you won't be having as much success if you have to decorate it at 365 degrees. You have to experiment or find a product that goes on at a lower temperature. Apparel versus non-apparel. There's a lot of things you can heat press that is non-apparel today. You need to know the characteristics of the fabrics and experiment. That's how we get to. That's how us in the field get to know what we know. People give us jobs or experiments or projects and say, "Hey, try this." The reason we know so much is because we've ruined so much. We either have to lower the temperature, the time, or the pressure to make it work. Selecting the right materials. We'll start with Transfer Express. It's plastisol ink for the people that don't know. Instead of screen printing directly onto the garment, we screen print directly onto transfer paper. Paper comes in a couple of different sizes, 11 1/4 by 14, 13 by 15. This gives you the ability to order small orders, fill in, have inventory. They're the largest custom transfer company in the world. We work 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. You can order from us Monday through Friday. Most items that you order from us is shipped either same day, 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day. We have thousands of pieces of clip art. You can design it yourself, use our clip art. It lowers the price, no setups, no screen charges. Basically, we do screen printed names and numbers is how a lot of people start with us. Sometimes you order this stuff before 11 o'clock in the morning, we ship it the same day. 2 day, second day air, same price as ground. Remember, it's sold by the color, by the sheet. So you can also put it on a gang sheet. Let's say you've got a 3 by 3 inch logo. You can fit 12 of them on a sheet. Your price is per color per sheet. On gang sheets, it's not by the graphic. It's by the sheet. If you're looking to get involved with this process, order the idea book or the marketing kit. The marketing kit is like $49. They give you 30 free samples of transfers that have all the different materials, the different inks, and you need to know there's a difference in the ink. Once again, the #1 selling product is goof proof. However, Polytrans and Hot Split are for specific applications, as are the specialty inks. If you want something that looks three-dimensional or that glows in the dark, the Elastoprint is perfect for heat-sensitive items similar to performance apparel. If your customer doesn't want a CADCUT material, a film, a vinyl on a performance apparel, you have the option to using the specialty inks. It applies around 275 degrees, and it stretches. So that helps it to work positively on heat-sensitive items. CADCUT materials is vinyl that's cut on a vinyl cutter. One of our books that we have available online, or you can request, is CADCUT Direct. It's a magalog. The book is about as big as your hand, and it's traditionally for people that have a vinyl cutter. This is how they order their materials to cut with a vinyl cutter or their CAD color material that they would purchase to run through their print cut system. But they have all the different materials that Stahl sells. For instance, thermofilm's our #1 selling athletic material. It will tell you the thicknesses of the material in terms of microns as a unit of measure. It will tell you the compatible fabrics that it works on, plus the application instructions, whether or not it's compliant with CPSIA or ANSI certified. It'll show you all the colors, and it's a great reference tool for people, even if you don't have a vinyl cutter. It'll tell you the difference and say, well, let's see, thermofilm's 190 microns, and Premium Plus is 80 microns, and Superfilm, done with CADCUT H2O technique, is 55 microns. Well, that ought to give you a reference of which material is thicker on what fabric. So if you're doing a shirt for a bachelorette party, you might not want to use thermofilm because of the thickness. You might want to use something that's thinner. It will also give you the application temperatures. So once again, there's a huge difference on your substrate if you need to put something on at 330 degrees as opposed to something that applies at 275 degrees. There's a huge difference. As you can see, the difference between the ink from Transfer Express and the CADCUT film from Stahl's, we have them broken down into the most popular ones, the big sellers, the special effects that you're trying to get if you're dealing with cheerleaders or a dance squad or a dance school or a marching band. Many of these special effects have outstripped some of our most popular ones historically because people like them. Lots of colors, lots of bling. Remember, when it's cut with a vinyl cutter, you're not putting a 6-color logo on top of each other on a t-shirt because it's done in layers. So if typically CADCUT material is done adjacent in the design, not on top of the design. So if you're doing a multicolored job, you might be putting the megaphone, and inside the megaphone you're putting a couple of letters with 2 different media, maybe glitter flake, or maybe you're doing fashion film or hologram. You're not putting on top of each other. In the athletic business, you are putting on top of each other for a 2-color number. Your choice on a 2-color number, go with Transfer Express. The number comes to you already done, white on black, black on white, whatever one you're using. It's already done one piece. With CADCUT material, you have to do the background first, and then you have to do the foreground. Okay, 2 steps. So it isn't necessarily the price differential where it's a small difference in price, but think of the labor, think of the ease of the operation. More CADCUT materials. We have the reflective families, 3 different kinds, 3 different purposes. The 3M is the ANSI certified. Generally speaking, reflective comes in silver. That's why the Fashion Reflect comes in a bunch of colors, and it also stretches. Some of the fancier materials, the Pebble Puff, the flock's been on our line for forever. It's almost like a raised surface texture. It's almost like a velvety feel. It looks terrific in a dark color, like on a sweatshirt. Pebble Puff is 3-dimensional. Some of the bright finishes, we have the glow in the dark. The gloss is extremely shiny. You see neon a lot at beach and summer resorts. The specialty finish is airflow. It looks like mesh. You don't have to weed out the little holes in the mesh, but it gives the appearance that you have cut something out of mesh and then heat pressed it on. It's a pretty sharp material, and Transfer Express has introduced a new screen-printed font for 2013 that mirrors this same thing, so you can get it in a screen-printed look as well as the CADCUT material. Carbon fiber is very popular with the automobile enthusiasts. Remember, these are all cut with a vinyl cutter. And we also have our standard materials, the fashion film, the Gorilla Grip, the Econoprint. Super film, you buy the film and you can use it 2 different ways. You can follow the instructions from the catalog or with your order or online. Super film regular is a nice film. It's easy to work with, does great detail, has a nice feel to it. However, if you put it under increased pressure for a longer period of time, You physically melt the film into the cotton garment. It has almost no hand to it. And when I show this to people at a show or my customer base, they can't believe it's vinyl. It is. It's not a film. It's a technique. It's called CADCUT H2O, CCH2O. And when you increase the pressure and increase the time, it looks and feels like water-based screen printing. Okay, so these are some of the different things that you can use with the film, but you need to educate yourself as to the thicknesses of the material, the application temperature that it goes on, and once again, what purpose you're trying to achieve by using something glossy or hologram or airflow. You can make some neat looks with it. Okay, we've gone through the plastisol ink transfers with Transfer Express. You can't get them through any other division of Stahls, so therefore that tells you that if you want a screen printed transfer, you do Stahls. If you want CAD-cut material, Transfer Express. If you want to go through CAD-cut material, you order it from Stahls. Transfer Express does not do CAD-cut material. Here's one that they both offer, CAD Color. You can get it from either Transfer Express or you can get it from Stahls. This is physically made on a wide format printer. They've been around for a long period of time in the sign-making business. Fairly recently, the technology has changed so that you can now use it on apparel. There's a variety of different materials, again, that we offer, not trying to confuse you, but they have different applications. Some of them stretch. Some of them are a one-step process. Some are two-step processes. They are all the same in that they are printing on a vinyl, whether it's white or clear. They print on the vinyl, we weed it, and then we ship it to you all ready to go on a carrier, and you can heat press this onto almost anything. Because of the range of temperatures and the variety of products that you can put it on, this product is extremely versatile. You can get the economy of scale with this product. It will work on nylon. It will work on leather, lycra, spandex, cotton, polyester. It will work on many non-apparel applications as well as apparel. So that's where we see the business going quite a bit. You see quite a bit of it in the stores. You see quite a bit of it with the ad specialty market. And you see quite a bit of it in the promotional products. And it's growing rapidly. So if you don't have any experience with the CAD color, it is sold by the square inch, not by the color. Okay, where do you find your answers? Stahls, Transfer Express, Great Garment Graphics, T-shirt forum. There's a material calculator online on Great Garment Graphics, so you can price out materials. MyVersacam.com is a forum for people that own a Versacam. Jody will put this on a blog after the presentation in a PDF form, and there'll be a hyperlink so that you can just click on this and you click on TransferExpress.com, and it should bring you right to the Transfer Express link, right to their website, rather. So you want to make sure that you're conversant with these different groups, and you know, some of them are reviews from the industry at large, like T-shirt forums. MyVersacam.com is over 1,000 people, customers that have their own Versacams, and they answer questions with each other. Sourcing your decorating materials. There's a huge difference between a manufacturer and a distributor. Stahls is a manufacturer. We manufacture almost all our own materials. We own 50, either have 50 patents or patents pending in this industry. We also sell some of our materials and heat presses through distributors. So don't be surprised if you go to a major trade show and you see our heat presses being sold by 18 or 19 people other than Stahls. Rest assured, we are the manufacturer. You can source decorating materials on the internet. If you go through CADCUTdirect.com for your materials, you can get up to a 15% discount for ordering materials online. This would be specifically for people that have a vinyl cutter. There are delivery and shipping specials. Most of our divisions have a second day air, same price as ground. Sometimes there's a monthly sale on materials. There's volume discounts. There's loyalty discounts. Stalls has a program in effect, as does CADCUT Direct. Once you hit $1,500 in sales, you're eligible for a 3% discount. $5,000 in sales, 4%. $10,000, 5%. $20,000 in sales a year is 6%. These discounts are usually put out quarterly. You earn them quarterly, and our fiscal year is from July 1 to June 30th. Some people belong to buying groups, or they're a part of a franchise. They would have specialty pricing through their particular buying group or franchise. Because this group or franchise has 300 or 400 members, they would earn the economy of scale by participating in that large group. Stalls also, in Michigan, offers a digital decorating center. If you don't have a heat press, or you choose not to heat press a particular job, you don't want to, you're not capable of doing it, you can send your substrate materials to us. We will decorate it for you. We do a good amount of business doing things, especially unusual applications. You can go through Stalls Digital Decorating Center online. We also have a distribution and fulfillment center in Pennsylvania. You would access them through your area regional sales representative, where we would offer direct embroidery, direct silk screening applications. Historically, this has been for the larger manufacturers in the industry, where we do things you see online. We do things for the NFL, the NBA, etc. But in the last couple of years, we've offered it to some of our customer base who have decided that for maybe 1 month a year, when they're busy, they don't want to add another piece of equipment or another shift. They may farm their work out to us for tackle twill or applique or screen printing a large color job that they can't do in-house. That is strictly done through your regional sales rep. Okay, overcoming obstacles. You need to learn the relationship between the big three: time, temperature, and pressure. I alluded to a PVC vinyl bag. When I got this material to test for this particular company, I tried Easy Prints at 365. It was too hot. I tried it at 340 for 10 seconds. It was too hot. I was able to successfully apply it at a much lower temperature. I experimented. If I lowered the temperature, I had to increase the time. Okay, so there is a way to do this stuff, and remember that our time, temperature, and pressure for each material that we put out to you publicly is a recipe for that particular product. It doesn't count every material it can go on, because there's just too many different variables. There are many kinds of polyesters. So you need to know the relationship between this. That's why some people, when they have success with a particular product, they say, well, geez, Mr. Customer, we know that you want brand X, but we've had success with this one, and we've found out how not to have the heat press square or dye migration. Which brings us to our most common errors, the heat press square. In cotton, if you are too hot or have too much pressure, you can get a heat press square, but it will leave through the laundry process. And think of it as stepping on fibers in like a shag carpet. It will come back eventually. The heat press square will not come back out of most polyesters. You've used the wrong material for the job. You've used maybe something that goes on at too high a temperature when another item was available. Think of goof-proof versus elastoprint. Elastoprint on polyester would not have left the square, where the higher temperature and the pressure with the goof-proof is definitely going to leave a square on some of these smaller polyester performance apparel items. You'd have to lower the temperature and increase the time. Dye migration specifically is coming from a polyester-based item. Once again, it's whatever you're doing, it's too hot. Some people will say, well, I lowered the temperature, and then they use a Teflon cover sheet. That Teflon cover sheet is going to conduct the heat. You probably don't want to use that with a heat-sensitive item. You can reduce operator errors with optional platens. kind of the right tool for the job. Sometimes that 16 by 20 or 16 by 16 platen isn't as effective as another one could be, depending upon how much variety you can do. We make platens for people. We introduced an 11-inch by 15-inch platen, which is great for women's sizes and youth sizes. We also will make one to your spec. Another one that's gaining in popularity is a glove press, where you can actually press 6 gloves at a time. You can increase your productivity. The latest word that we've come up with is threadability, where you can put a shirt on a heat press in our new Fusion and Air Fusion. If you have a older style clamshell, which pictured here, up to I think it's 6 years and back, you can buy one of these heat press caddies, and you will now be able to thread your shirt, where you don't have to put the top of the shirt and the bottom of the shirt on the lower platen. You'll be able to open up the shirt, and with the use of a quick slip pad protector on your lower platen, you can heat the back of the shirt, bring it about 6 inches towards you, and rotate it over the lower platen with this quick slip pad protector, and then you can heat press the back of the shirt. It increases productivity dramatically. It also cuts down on errors. If you've ever seen a shirt in somebody's shop where they have number 13 on the front of the shirt and number 31 on the back of the shirt, well, I think most of you realize that they printed all the fronts and then they printed all the backs. You can eliminate some of your mistakes by printing each shirt individually, and hopefully that cuts down on your mistakes. You can also eliminate repetition with an upper platen cover. This covers your heating element, and it reduces your need to put in a cover sheet in between your material and the heating element. Generally speaking, you always want to have a cover sheet between your graphic and the heating element so that the graphic doesn't melt or doesn't stick to the upper platen, especially with new people. At least a call a week, I'm sure all of us get and remember fondly or not so fondly with our first job, where you heat press somebody's name and you picked up the cover and looked to see it where the name was on the shirt and found out it was missing, but it had inconveniently stuck to the upper platen. Good practice is to always have a cover sheet, or if you're spoiled with an upper platen cover, it keeps mistakes from happening. Words are important. Who's going to make more money? Someone who's going to sell you an iron-on design or heat seal? I think we know the answer to that. If I could eliminate one phrase in our industry over the years, it would be iron-on. No one's going to pay somebody a lot of money to iron something on. Your heat press is a piece of equipment. Use it. Learn how to use it. It's not great as a boat anchor in the corner. It can do a lot of things. It's very, very, very versatile. Keep it clean. Make sure it works. Make sure you have even pressure with it. There's other webinars that we've had on your heat press, but make sure the pressure is accurate. Make sure the time is accurate. I have one customer in my sales territory that has solved the heat seal versus iron-on dilemma. He calls it thermal imaging. Now, I don't know if that's an extreme or not. Some people also called it bonded graphics, but these are words that help to make you a professional, and hopefully you can show your worth to your customer, and therefore they'll pay you the money that you deserve for doing your job. Job versus a project. I have found that many of my customers say, hey, I'm working on this job, where I have other people are saying that, hey, I have this project, can you help me with? Customer versus client. In the ad specialty business, promotional products business, they call the people they work for clients. Most everybody else calls them customers. I thought that was interesting. Use it where you want. As we come to the towards the end here, we have to think about the power to succeed, and the power to succeed you're getting from knowledge. Nobody has ever succeeded without failing first. You'll never learn if you don't make mistakes. Many times at seminars, people come up afterwards and ask questions and say things to all our sales reps who have many, many, many years of experience in the industry, and say something to the effect of, you know, how come you know so much? And most of us have the same answer. Experience is another word for mistakes. We have made a ton of mistakes, and that's how we've learned how much we know. Experiment and have fun. You can make a onesie shirt for somebody. You can go on the internet and see there's some tremendously creative people out there, and they make fun with their sayings, and they're witty and all kinds of different things. You also want to price for profit. Very, very important. Occasionally I'll hear somebody, okay, our landed costs are $13. I'm selling this shirt for $14 because there's 100 of them. That is not a recipe for success. You just trade in dollars. Your time is valuable. Charge accordingly. You can't get every job. Sometimes the best job is the job you walk away from. We'd like to thank you for listening today. My next show in the Northeast is the NES Expo. It's next week. It's at Foxwoods Casino. The next webinar is going to be done on Corel Draw. My personal contact information is Ken Chadwick. My cell phone number is there, and my email address is there. And this would be a great time if anybody has any questions. They can email us the questions, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our ability.
I don't see any questions coming in yet, but maybe we'll just hold tight for a second.
Well, I can make some up because everyday examples that I answer on the phone are, what about if somebody gives me multiple items on different substrates? 25 mesh shorts, 25 performance apparel, 25 nylon jackets, and 25 PVC bags. And the customer tells you, I have a 100-piece order. I want a good price. The reality is he doesn't have a 100-piece order. The reality is he has 4 25-piece orders. So size matters, colors matter, and the applications instructions matter because there's a significant difference on your time, temperature, and pressure. So this potentially is an order for CAD color, because in the CAD color, depending upon the size, location, etc. of the design, you would have a 100-piece order, because the CAD color would stick to all those substrates.
Good point.
If you were using ink as an example, goof proof might be a little too high temperature for the performance apparel, and if it's a PVC bag, it would probably be too high. So now you're using maybe a CADCUT if it's one color. You're using CAD color if it's multicolor. If you're doing T-shirts and you're doing shorts and they're cotton poly, or poly, you could get away with Transfer Express's inks, because then maybe you get 3 out of 4 with one process, and then you'd have to do CAD color or CADCUT on the fourth order.
Ken, Cheryl would like to know if you can, how they can order samples of each of the products in order to be able to start testing and getting some experimentation in.
You can call a customer, depending upon which company it is. Transfer Express does it through the marketing kit. I believe it's $49, and they'll send you 30 transfers. They'll give you a price guide, and they'll give you a book with all their stock clip art on it. That's the easiest way with Transfer Express. In terms of stalls, you can call customer service, and they will send you out samples of unapplied samples. They're typically the same design that's in the book. So if it says, thermofilm or fashion film, it's typically going to be the same design that we're advertising in our catalog. And what some customers do is they take these small designs. They're typically 3x3 or 2.5x3 or somewhere along those lines, and they'll take one shirt, like say one T-shirt, and they'll put all of them on the shirt, and then they'll just label it with magic marker or permanent ink and say, fashion film, foil, Gorilla Grip, whatever it might be. Also, if you go to a trade show, Atlantic City's coming up once again for the Northeast region, March 8th through 10th. I think Long Beach just happened in California, Orlando. If you go onto the events page on both stalls.com and transferexpress.com, on their home page, it'll be listed under events, and it'll say where their coming shows are. So they usually have these items at a trade show as well if you're in an area where they come. So either customer service, a trade show. Some of the sales reps have hotel shows and smaller venues in their territory, and they typically have them with them.
And also, Cheryl at Stalls ID, I'll include in the blog for anyone who wants to check back early tomorrow morning. We always do a webinar wrap-up with a blog post, and then this presentation is re-aired. And I will include in the blog post a link to the website in order to order samples. And then you can just order however many you want. And like Ken said, you can heat apply them to whatever substrate you want, and you can start, mixing and matching your materials with what your heat press can do.
The other one that we touched on was the CAD color. They actually have a neat way to sample that. They have what's called a bid kit. For $25, they will give you the same design and repetition, 2 4-inch, 2 3-inch, 4 2-inch, and 6 1-inch of the same design. So you could get that with your store name or an important customer to you, and put it on a variety of substrates. And what I've done, showed some of my customers, is they could put it on a date book or an address book, or they could put it on a cuff of a jacket that maybe they embroidered, or put it on the back of a yoke of a jacket, or put it on the side of a hat, or put it in some unusual place that would be difficult to do ordinarily. Put it on a fabric, put it on a neoprene koozie. There's all kinds of funky places you can put things today with a heat press.
And Ken, John would like to know if there's a resource where you can find out what the maximum temperatures are for certain substrates.
There won't be a maximum, but your heat press only goes up to a certain temperature. It's kind of an experiment. What we give out is the time, temperature, and pressure for each specific material that we sell, but the substrates, there's just so many of them. So, for instance, the polyester that Nike uses might be different than the polyester that Reebok or New Balance is using. It could be different. So we don't have access to that material. You could write to a manufacturer and see, but I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for that information. Unfortunately, the best way to do this is to experiment. If the cost of college is, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a year, the cost of education in the heat press business is a ruined shirt, jacket, whatever.
And Robert would like to know how you successfully print 2 sides of a shirt without actually threading the shirt over the press.
You have to put something inside of it. Typically, if you're doing CADCUT material, we sell pillows. It's a Teflon pillow with Pellon inside of it. That's one way to do it. However, with screen printed transfers, you are not to use a pillow. Some people use a cover sheet, put it in between. I've seen homemade jigs. I've seen people use corrugated cardboard, mouse pads. We sell Print Perfect pads. There's a lot. You generally have to put something inside of it so that you don't have the wrinkles on both sides. Wrinkles are not good, seams are not good, buttons are not good.
And then on that same note, Ron would like to know how you apply sleeves and legs, how to get these things lined up correctly.
You would want to have the largest heat press you could have with the platen, typically 16 by 20. You might lay it on an angle across, diagonally. And within the next, I think it's 30 or 45 days, we will be introducing a sleeve/leg platen. It will be an optional platen that you can purchase. Most people currently are hanging the pant leg over. Transfer Express has specific pant leg designs. They restrict them to a certain length, but sometimes what happens is you would cut your design in half. So let's say you were putting in a very large name. You would have the transfer cut down like either in the middle or as long as your heat press is, so you would heat press it twice. You do have to take the time to register it properly, but you can do an oversized design by pressing it twice with either CADCUT material or in Easy Print or Easy Print Plus.
Okay, and I think we have time for one last question. Some of our attendees don't have a Hotronix press that shows them the pressure bar on the panel. So how would they adjust their pressure without really knowing? Like, how do you know if we don't have a pressure display?
Okay. There are a number of companies out there that sell heat presses without all the tools you need to be successful, so you kind of have to guess. One way that you can do it is you can take the knob at the top, screw it all the way down, put a mark on the screw with either like fingernail polish or tailor's chalk or something, just to show the reference point all the way down, and then do the same thing all the way up. Okay, the big screw in the middle of your heat press will be exposed, and you'll have a space maybe 2.5 inches high, maybe 3 inches tops. And so if you put a reference point at the bottom and a reference point at the top, that would give you the range. Think of your heat press, generally speaking, goes from 0 to 9, and if you think of that as pounds of pressure, for instance, 1 would be 10 pounds of pressure and 9 would be 90 pounds of pressure. Okay, so think of that as the bottom and the lower, and then halfway between those two lines, you'd put another line, and that would be your midpoint. Let's think of that as 5. So if you could see that line and you could keep that there permanently or keep putting that line in so you can see it, that would at least give you a midpoint. And then if you had to do 4, you do maybe a quarter of a turn less. If you needed to do 6 or 7, you might do a quarter of a turn or a half turn higher, and that would give you that range. There's a huge difference between 4 and 6 on a heat press. Because it isn't 4 and 6, it's 40 and 60. 20 pounds of pressure is a lot.
Okay, so this ends our presentation. That's all the time we have for questions. I will send, each of you will receive an email tomorrow with a link to the blog where you can access the answers to any questions that you did ask us that we didn't have time to answer, and then also the links that we referenced, as well as a recorded version of this presentation and a PDF of the slides. So I would like to thank Ken for joining us today. Thank you so much for your knowledge and for sharing it with us. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to contact us at info@greatgarmentgraphics. Ken?
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.